Hi, gang.
Hi, Mike.
How are you doing?
All good. Just good to see you too.
Always lovely to see you both. Right, show 2. 2020 wasn't all that bad. I mean, it wasn't ideal, but there was still so many good things that came out of 2020. There was some amazing goals, amazing highlights from the hockey world, and okay, we didn't get all the hockey in that we wanted to, but we still got some amazing bits in there. So tonight's show, we're going to talk about our favourite moments of 2020, some underrated players of 2020 from the Premier League, both in the men's and the women's game, and then we're going to recap what's gone on in 101 week, because it has been a mad week for Sport 101. So that's today's show. First off, Tess, I want you to just talk about your favourite moments of 2020.
Yeah, so quite difficult because I thought about what 2020 was like pre-corona and post-corona, down 1 and 2, and so when you divide up the year like that, you're like, was March really 2020? But it definitely was. So my some of my highlights were from pre-corona were definitely sort of the New Zealand GB Pro League games, being able to go out to Auckland. On a personal note, I got to visit some of my family that I'd never seen before in New Zealand, in Auckland. So that was pretty cool. And the games, obviously, going out there and winning their home turf. But domestically, again, it's March. But for me, my highlight was the last game of the season, exactly pretty much the day before lockdown was announced. East Grinstead versus Surbiton in a historic victory for EG. And I know people probably like the classic. She's talking about EG as her highlight, but definitely this game and this specific moment, just describing it for you. Win the ball in the press, play it through to my teammate Gilly, who she plays it across the goal to Sophie, who plays it across the goal for a diving deflection by Kachi, our international that she came across from Czech Republic. So pretty epic game. It finished 6-1, but this was the goal to go 3-1 up and sort of seal and make Surbiton a bit nervy, I guess. So this is the goal.
Right, let's play. Here we go. Love that commitment for the dive. So good.
Just gorgeous. And the celebrations, obviously pre-corona, that one meant a lot. Do you know, because we were building such momentum. It was such a gritty game. That was in, I think, like the 45th, 50th minute. So it was 1-1 and then 2-1 at half time. And it was as much their game as our game. And it was this counter attack from the press, just showing that like you can score from pressing. I know as a forward, I'm like, why? Like I get a bit bored pressing, but it can turn into goals. So yeah, and what that game represented, sort of as our last hurrah. I remember being in the huddle before the game, and Sophia Bray, the captain, sort of said, look, we don't know when the next time we're going to play hockey, so we might as well just go out and give it our all. And I think that's probably why it sticks in my mind so much. And when we came back this season, we kind of kept that feeling that we had right at the end. Started this season with that. So that's my highlight.
That's a really very cool highlight. And yeah, I love it. I love being in games where you have that tipping point, where there's that one goal, that one moment, like at a really crucial time, and you get it right. And then you go on to smash the rest of the game. It's such a cool feeling.
I think it was the decision to pass from Sophie for all of us to pass. You carrying, and you have the option to eliminate, or you choose to find your teammate. And I think in every moment of that clip, we choose to find each other. And I kind of think that's probably why that goal happened. Yes, it's been replayed a lot.
Test. It feels significant that it was against Surbiton, who sort of set the standard in the division for so long. Did it feel like a big moment for you as a squad?
Yeah, definitely. It's always, it's this been this thing, EG versus Surbiton. It is like the local derby for us, and we've always been pushing to compete against them. And I think that moment kind of showed us that the kind of hockey that we want to play, which is counter attack, which is good build up play of like 2v1 principles, things like team play. That's how we want to play, and we can do it to beat teams like Surbiton. And it's definitely translated into this year, because we go into matches thinking that we can just play our game. If that makes sense.
You had a really good streak of wins up until that game as well, didn't you? Hadn't you been like 11 on the bounce under, like, where you won?
Yeah, we don't want to talk about it too much, but because I just can't go on about it too much. But no, we didn't have a great start to 2019-20 season. We had 4 games which were either draws or losses, and since then we've maintained. I think it's sort of a mentality thing. Definitely, we've scraped draws and things over the season when we needed to, and that's really important for us mentally as a squad. Yeah.
Nice. Gibbo, go on then. What's your highlight of the year?
Actually, all my stuff comes in the same week as what Tess referred to. So there have been more than there are some post-COVID highlights, but this one is the week pre. So that the post-COVID stuff that was good would be just pre-season this year. Felt pretty significant, like actually happening and back on a pitch after a very long period of time, not been able to do that. So this pre-season just gone is probably the most I've enjoyed coaching one, because it was just felt incredibly significant to get a group together and do something you've not been able to do for such a long time. Felt such a long time. I appreciate lockdown version 1 was like just the length of the off season, but it felt 3 times the length. So
just so long.
Yeah. So like actually pre-season this year was mega enjoyable. So that was pretty significant. But the stuff I've picked and the clip I sent you all happened in the same week. So you asked me to pick the goal that I thought was probably the best one I saw last year. That came in a defeat to Durham, which Tess is completely over. So Durham beat Loughborough to go to what would have been Bucks' final. Loughborough went 1-up. So the goal that you'll show that I sent you is Liv Hamilton scoring arguably the best goal she'll ever score. It's outstanding. It's banger. I'm sure she won't mind me saying that. Actually, I shouldn't say that. She scores them regularly in training, but to get that one in a game on cam, I'm sure she's pretty happy. And then later in that week, I actually wasn't there for that game. I was on holiday, but it was a stag do. But that was a good one to review. But then that weekend, we had to, in the end we didn't have to, but we went into a game against Holcombe with Loughborough, having been knocked out of Bucks, thinking we don't know what's going to happen after 70 minutes. If we lose it, we certainly bring in 9th place into reckoning, provided Birmingham didn't win. And sort of something we could go into 9th place. And if we got a point, I think we were guaranteed we wouldn't go to 9th place. And if we won, we could come as high as 6th. So we're going into that game with a bit of pressure and disappointed with the Wednesday. And actually, I thought the ladies played really well. We were outstanding that day against Holcombe. Some hairy moments, but very mature performance. Kind of felt like we boxed off the season, like breathed a sigh of relief. First year in the Premier League, we felt a bit more belonging after that point, I think. And then the day after, travelled across the Pennines to. I'd done a little bit of support coaching for Brooklands last season, just helping out Gamo when he had dates with the EDP that he couldn't make. And the boys needed a result against EG, and they got it. They won 2-1. And then the day after National, that was like, that week is, this COVID thing's real. So there was no more hockey the next weekend. So that last weekend before lockdown 1 was actually could have been a lot worse. And it could have been a lot of feeling sorry for yourself had those things not gone well. But yeah, 2 very good performances and significant results from groups that are pretty close to my heart. So yeah, that was probably the highlight.
Love that. And let's have a look at this goal. So
really good. I hope she's watching.
That's such a throwback, Maiden Castle.
There she goes, picks it up. Has a
Oh,
look.
Lumper. Oh, wow. That
Yeah.
is my initial reaction. Crikey. I've actually haven't seen that before.
It's
Right, we
still
need to see that again. That is a screamer.
Yeah, it's
I need
good.
to get on the phone to that and ask her to show me how she did that.
Hmm.
Yeah, absolute screamer.
And the crowd go
I
wild.
love that your fullback's running back to high five Miriam. She's sprinting back.
Iona puts in a shuttle there to go and see men, which is great. Pre-COVID celebrations are different, aren't they?
Oh, totally different.
Stick
And it was
tap,
when we
yeah.
were talking about it.
Yeah. I mean, imagine just having to do a stick tap and an air high five after that. Get around.
Really sad.
Yeah.
Crikey. Do you think she was aiming low? Or
No. Hollywood. Which actually, she probably complained that she doesn't get to do that much this year because she played screen all last year and will get forward a bit from there, but she's playing halfback now. And she'd say, well, I don't get the chance top D anymore, do I? She'd probably say that, Liz. She'd probably find a way to complain about it. Right, it's a great goal. And she puts them in from all angles in like small-sided games. Like we'll take it on from the baseline, we'll cut to a backhand, and yeah, she's pretty ambitious in front of goal. So yeah, she's a good player.
Small-sided games, beautiful for those goal scoring. I'm literally advocating for like a 5v5 game. Yeah. Double D.
The hockey fives.
Hockey fives, yeah.
Mike will know more, but there's going to be more 5-a-side rolled out, is there, Mike?
I think watch this space. I think there's going to be. I think it's definitely going to be something which is going to be in addition to in the calendar. I don't think it'll ever replace the beloved game that is 11-a-side, but I think there's a space for it. I think some people completely disagree, and we all know people that have pretty strong opinions either way.
Yeah, just don't tweet about it because then you'll start something.
Stay off Twitter.
Maybe more 5-a-side.
I think we should start the rumour because I'm very keen for it. A social 5-a-side hockey league.
A social league, yeah, that's good.
That'd be cool.
Well,
initially social, and then you choose your diamond. You choose your 5, and then
a diamond or.
Oh my gosh, we could call it that. Diamond. Oh no, is that a dice?
Dice
hockey. I don't know.
We just need 2 more tests. Michael go and go. I'll stand at the back. You can score the goal. Just need a couple of runners.
A 101 team. Yeah,
absolutely.
I tell you what, challenge out there for anybody who wants to take on a select 101 5 team. It would be pretty good.
What? Then you could have like companies like put up 5-a-side teams. That would be pretty cool, like Touch Rugby do in the summer. Well, we're onto something here.
Here we go. Right, watch this space. This is going to happen.
Mike's going to a 101 team for Southgate Sixers or something like that.
Here we go.
Go on, Mike. What are your highlights?
I think for me, the fact that the feeling that people got when they managed to get back on the pitch after lockdown 1, was just unbelievable, and the amount of of hard work people had to go through, and then how people felt the other side. I think that's a huge highlight for me. Marlow and loads of other clubs, but Marlow were doing so much free hockey post lockdown, so just seeing friends, family, everyone just on the turf playing, that was just, like I say, that even though that was off season, that first lockdown, it felt so heavy, and then to come out the other side and just to see everyone on the turf was just awesome. It was such that was a huge highlight for me.
I think everyone sort of remembers that first moment on the pitch, don't they? Yeah,
it was huge. And then my highlight actually was seeing Ollie Payne get his debut. I think having known Ollie now for 4 years or so now, and been fortunate enough to spend a little bit of time with him when he was in the England 18s, just such a top lad. Fully deserves all his accolades and more. And I think, his caps earlier this year are going to be the first of many. So yeah, I think
Ball all the way through. Here's a chance, and the short hand is shot. The follow-up, it's a double save from Payne.
I think just looking through some of these saves that he had was just phenomenal. You know, this is his debut against arguably one of the best teams in the world, and he's looked so comfortable. That's a phenomenal save.
It's a penalty corner.
That's hit as well.
Oh, I mean, those saves in his debut, he looks like he's been there forever. And I think he's got for me, he's got it in terms of he works really hard. He wants to be the best that he can be, but he also has that humility about it. And he just wants to enjoy the ride, but he'll do everything that he needs to do to not miss his window. And I think fair play, massive credit to him. He works incredibly hard, incredibly humble guy, and I think seeing him get those first caps was just really cool and really special. And he's had a really, really good league season as well in the Prem.
Yeah.
Debut season in the Prem, and I think he's done bits. So yeah, Ollie Payne is my highlight. Bit of goalie loving for that.
Himself. He is
my highlight.
Yeah. I didn't get to watch those games live, but I can't remember what I was doing, but my brother texted me and he said, "Is that Ollie Payne in goal for GB?" And I said, "Yeah, I believe it would be tonight." And he said he's just saved one from Jerome Hertzberger from the top. And then he went, "Okay," and he went, "So I scored against him 2 years ago. That means I now flick a better ball than Jerome Hertzberger." That's how it works, Matt. But the Donny game 2 years ago, GB, Holland now, not sure that's how, but he was like, "I think that is that confirmed," or yeah.
So I remember him at Bucks final when Durham won the Bucks final for. I mean, it'd been years since they had done that, the men's team, and he pulled out incredible saves, and then it went to shootouts or flicks, and he saved them, and that must have been like 3 years ago in his first year, and just watching him then and him getting all these different accolades, it's starting to make sense now watching him play there, like why his journey's been as such.
Yeah, and you know that was a pretty cool Durham group. Shout out to another Sport 101 family member in there, Jack Turner, absolute legend playing for that team, and proud Borlasian. Not that I'm biased at all towards Borlase players, but you know he's a class act.
I mean, as a first year at Durham, I would go down to watch the men's teams just to try and learn off those players, because you got Rich Patterson, you got Turner and Jack Waller, Reece Smith, all in that age group. And I was literally sitting. Everyone else was like cheering, go Durham, and I was like, okay, so how is Jack just like got out of that tight situation, and how is Waller fullback, but now he's in the D? It's brilliant.
Such a good team.
Very good team.
Right then, moving on in the show. Underrated players. I think it's really easy when you're watching the Prem or whatever to talk about your current senior internationals. And I think for me, there are so many players that sit under the radar. And as we were talking, actual whole teams. And so, yeah, let's shed some light on these guys. So, Gibbo, who are your underrated players of 2020?
Yeah, so you've asked me to do the men's Prem test, ladies, and you're going to take an overview. Is that right, Mike?
Yeah, something like that.
All right. So, notwithstanding senior internationals, which is tricky because they get rightly so, get a lot of plaudits, a lot of interest. I've gone for 3 players for very kind of different reasons. So the first one I'll go for would have played most of his Prem career alongside a fair amount of internationals, but actually looked like he was on that level himself a lot of the time. So it's an EG player. He doesn't know, I don't know him, and he probably won't know he's getting a shout out. But whenever I've been with Brooklands and done any footage and watched Prem, I always thought he was someone that very calm on the ball, finds solutions, very good in tight areas, gets on the ball an awful lot, and that's Dominic Bowden. I thought he was very good and influential for EG and has been for a number of years. So he'd have played with a number of internationals in the sides that EG have had down the years and always been around that, but still a very good player now. I think he's got a lot to bring to the table. Second one, again, never spoke to him, but Exeter is a new Premier League side, as pretty much, well, I think they are entirely a student side. Their captain, I believe, is Duncan Scott, and he's someone that has done, I know he's done EDP and he's been around the 21 and stuff, but if you watch them playing, actually that game, I think it was the Georgians game that they played, he was very influential in that, gets on the ball an awful lot, but does make them tick and can pop up with a number of different sort of roles. He can, outlet in a backline shape and drop in and make up a back unit, or he can find himself getting ahead, getting through, scoring and creating. So he's a very good player in that team. So all I've seen of Exeter, I'd say he's always stood out and been really impressive.
Yeah, I remember with him as well, because he had concussion for several.
Yeah, I don't know the story with he plays in the scrum, it's easy to spot, but I didn't know the story with the head injury. But yeah, it's easy to pick him up on a pitch because of that. But was he out for a long time with a concussion?
Yeah, he was out for a long time, missed a lot of under-21 stuff, but came back and dominated the Prem.
Yeah, he's a really good player. He could play. One of those you'd say would get in most sides in that league.
He's got the most beautiful style. It's so like body fake and smooth. It's not like erratic. Everything's in control. It's all like little fakes, little moves, and it's just delightful to watch.
I mean, I don't know if that's allowed. I think the guy who's played 21 is an underrated player. But I guess it's because Exeter are only their second year in the Prem and whatever. It's maybe you say they fly under the radar, but he definitely is very influential for them. And I've never really seen him put a foot wrong for them. So, yeah, he'd be high on the list. And then the last one, this is where it actually got really hard, because I was intent to put a Brooklands player in, but it's kind of which one do you go for without upsetting people. And like to an extent, they are all underrated, because you don't typically get senior internationals in that group. But very hard to ignore Dave Flanagan's goals for, I don't know, the last 8 years, however long they've been there. Scores all kinds of goals apart from shots, because he traps for his brother generally, but he will score a high number of field goals, take strokes, and he doesn't just score, he creates, wins corners, brings an awful lot to that team. He's tactically really good, so gets a lot of does a lot of unselfish work, pressing and leading. He's a very good all-round player, and again, hugely influential in that side. So tough. That was a tough one, picking one Brooklands player, but Dave picked it. Notable mention.
Put up your team sheet, do you? Just
yeah, the whole team could have been in.
Aww.
They are, to an extent, all are underrated, aren't they?
Yeah. And and actually, I'll tell you what. Let's go into that now. I think they shouldn't be underrated, but I think Buckingham Ladies as a unit, they haven't got your flat, your standout marquee players, but I think they just get it right as a team. And I think, since they came back up into the Prem, they've always been top four.
Yeah, surprisingly. Yeah.
They've always been top four in the Prem. They've obviously won the indoor. With no superstars. Like, they're just a really well-built team that work incredibly hard, have people like, Abby Brandt was top goal scorer in the Premier League. You've got, obviously, Shipley, who's going to, is always going to bang in goals pretty regularly and be a stalwart at the back. Ella Jackson has been keeper there for a long time, Welsh international. You've now got Nicole Marks there in goals. They've got a good goalkeeper. Max, obviously, a class coach. And so there's a lot of good things going for Buckingham as a small club, because they are a really small club. I think their men's ones play Buckingham Div 3 or something. It's a pretty low division. But actually, the rest, that ladies' side is a proper team. They're galvanized together. So I think I've classed them as underrated, but they shouldn't be underrated. They should be feared, because they're just hard to play.
They're a very physical team, and you're right. They get their team structures well. So they actually play some like nice hockey structure wise. yeah, they're hard to play against. We drew to them earlier in the season, 1-1, and that's a game that we went into quite confidently. But they're hard, especially playing away at their home pitch in Stowe School. You drive in and you think, oh, this is going to be gorgeous, like amazing facilities, Stowe School, surely, and then you turn up and it's less.
It is the nicest place in the world until you fall down that Astro. Stowe is like driving through Middle Earth and Narnia or whatever. It's like so
literally statues everywhere.
Yeah, it's the nicest sort of views on the way in and facility. It does blow you away a little bit, but then the pitch is very sandy, to be fair.
The 5-mile drive, whatever.
I've always thought the analysis, the tower behind, like, I don't feel for the guy that goes up there because it's very low and it's not got any protection. It's like a foul or a save, and you are in the firing line. So I've always thought you take life in your hands up there a little bit.
And facing into the sun.
Yeah.
So not only are you staring into the sun like this, you've also got
the reflex of a cat up there.
Yeah, it's a tough place. I remember being blinded going one way, definitely.
Not ideal.
But agreed, they are a really good side. And I'm glad you said the physical test, because I felt the same when we played them. So obviously I'm coaching and watching. I thought, this looks like it's been played like right on the edge of what's acceptable before an umpire gets interested. But coming off, I think they thought the same of us, which is quite a nice place to be. Like, it was played at a good tempo, but nothing that I don't think went too far. But yeah, I'm glad you thought they were physical, because I looked at it and thought that's probably a lot of stuff. And we were there as well, but right on the edge of where you could have got interested from an umpiring perspective. But I don't mind that. I think that's a good place to be.
And I think then carrying on in terms of underrated players, I think Ben Albury for OGs, I think is just a class player who is such a utility player as well. He got unbelievable hands. He's got a really good engine on him. Halfback, midfield, screen, fullback, like anywhere, and he's just going to cause damage. And he's just such a class player. And then my last one is an absolute legend in Laura Myers, who's just love that girl to bits. She's such a hero and like just makes such a difference. And I think we've got a comment saying, Buckingham is an underrated star. So yeah.
Is it?
No, it's actually from Ian, who is a Marlow parent. So yeah. Good to see you, Ian. So yeah, I think for me that whole, I think Laura Myers is just an absolute legend. Having known her for years, she is someone who works hard, who is always the sunshine in a team. Just is eternal happiness.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, she joined EG this season, and has been so vital for us in so many games, keeping us in matches and producing extraordinary saves. That she's won man of the match multiple times.
Yeah.
And even in training, like, we have a bit of banter around who's going to save or who's going to score. And I remember this one time in training I slid to dive, and like she the ball just like lobbed over her, like quite lucky. And then literally 2 minutes later, I'm on the ball and she comes in and she just like slide tackles me legally, like completely. And I'm just like lying on the floor, and she's like, "That's for before." That's it. So she's got that. It's like underestimated competitiveness inside her. Like she's so casual, and then she'll just come out with all this. That's awesome.
The question, Tess, is does she still have a love for pads, those oboe ones with the logo on?
Yeah, she does.
Oh, she's still wearing them?
I think so.
Amazing.
I don't know. She wears red pads, red and blue.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure she had some ones like the ones Miriam has now with the Loughborough crest on them.
Oh yeah, Miriam. Yeah. I know those.
Georgie Pugh, also a 101 legend. You can't not be happy around Myers.
Yeah, literally.
Very true.
She when she first joined EG, she came down for one of the like junior coaching sessions, And she came up to me afterwards and she was like, is it weird that I'm friends with the under 14 girls team, but I haven't met the first team yet? And I was like, no, you're just chill. It's being you. It's fine. You'll merge. It'll be fine.
Yeah, and I think having I had Myers in goal when I was with Reading in the women's Prem. It's just phenomenal indoors, absolutely phenomenal. Came in as a guest and just kept us in games, won us games. The following year she went to Holcombe and played indoor for them. Did they win that year, or they got to the final potentially the following year? So yeah, phenomenal keeper, and yeah, definitely. Unless you know her, she'll be underrated. But anybody who knows Myers knows how amazing she is. So that is my underrated stars for 2020. Tess, go on then. Who are your underrated?
Yeah, I'm gonna pick two actually. So my first is a shout out to Robin Collins at Surbiton at the back. I remember I hadn't come across her because I hadn't played in the Prem until a couple of years ago. The first time I played against Surbiton, I was like, who is this player? Like she was playing as the fullback next door to Giselle. So I was like, crikey, she's got a huge aerial. She can drag flick. She's so good, like her reach. And then I found out that she plays for Scotland. But every time I play them, you have to watch out for her. Distribution skills, leadership at the back, especially I think this year where Surbiton they had a big intake of players in terms like Alice Wills, Steph Elliott, multiple others like Lottie Ross came back from university, so did Eloise Stenner, and so they had like a team that kind of needed to be brought together. And I think from at the back, she's done an incredible job there. Also has a slider, which is annoying because as a forward you're pressing and then the ball goes like past your left foot. So she's my first. And my second is also a defender, shockingly, I know. But it's Freya Bull. And Freya's actually a great friend of mine and a fellow 101er, I believe.
And Ballasian, yes.
And the reason I chose Freya is because I think
Gibbo's face. Sorry, just laughing at Gibbo.
Trying to be serious here, Gibbo.
It's all the in crowd, isn't it?
No, these are my reasons.
It's a southern setup. I'm kidding. Go on.
She'll join EG after this as well. So
yeah, I can see that coming.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. No, Freya. No, the reason is because like people at the back don't tend to. I mean, this is quite a generalization, but don't tend to have a lot of speed. But Freya is a halfback who can beat anyone in the 10-meter, 20-meter sprints. So putting her, it's like you would have a Lily Owsley on the wing. That kind of speed, and I think she's able to, you have a forward closing down, she can just like run straight past them and create things. She ends up in the D. It's great. It's a type of hockey that I think the EDP under 21s are learning to play, which is sort of that give and go, and not just like the one layer, but we're talking halfback plays it to screen, halfback's gone, and halfback can replace the winger, and that's the kind of hockey that I'd love to play. And so I think she's underrated, and hopefully will be rated and will join the seniors soon. I think she's brilliant. But yeah, in other news, the entire EG team, Gibbo, there you go.
You're not underrated. You're top of the Prem.
To be fair, there are a couple of players that are definitely, again, defenders in our team that I think are just brilliant. Chloe Strong, definitely at the back. Noticeable because she always tapes her thigh with tape. I'm actually not sure what she's taping, but there's a significant portion of her thigh. She can stop anyone getting to the D. So that's my shout out for EG. There you go.
It's going to be a weekly thing. Are you just going to have a weekly?
Do you want me to do Durham as well? And then I'll go back to Cambridge City, shall I? And then I'll just
no, basically just have 3 flags. Gibbo's going to get his northern flag out with Loughborough.
Yes. Although Durham is further north.
That is true. Right, final thing. I just want to give a shout out to everyone that's had a part to play in the 101 week last week and up to Wednesday this week. Loads of new things going on with Sport 101. Working with Young Minds, a charity for young people struggling with mental health issues. We've got Aspire, who are helping connect players into the American collegiate system. Future Sports, all sorts, drag flipping clinics now, and finally the academies. And for me, the not having the academies last year was really, really difficult personally, because it's something, it would have been the 6th year. And it's always the time of year which I look forward to most. And so I'm so excited to actually be launching not only the academies that we had previously, but a couple of new ones as well. And I just am so pleased to have so many amazing people involved. So I just wanted to give a shout out to anybody that's been involved, whether that's Gibbo is going to be running the Doncaster Centre this year, which so excited to have a centre up in the north, and then all the staff, all the sponsors, everything like that. So I just wanted to finish off by giving a huge thank you and shout out to everyone who's been involved, because it's been a seriously cool week, but a lot of work that's gone on in the background. Pew, yes, it absolutely wasn't the same without the academies and the academy day. Cannot wait to get that back. So yeah,
Our first fan of the show there, Mike.
Georgie Pugh, interesting fact, is a 101 original.
Yeah.
So he did first year, 4 years as a player, 5th year as a member of staff, and is just an absolute hero. So we love Georgie Pugh, absolute legend.
Agreed.
So that's it from me. Anything else from you guys before we finish the show?
Yeah, we're on next week, right?
Yeah, we're on next week. Next week, we're looking forward to 2021.
So we encourage people to get in touch with potential topics, things that we should pick up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hit you up at Sport 101. Hashtag 101 show.
Talking hockey.
Hashtag talking hockey.
Very smooth, Gibbo.
I've never done it before, so we're going to try now. Give it a couple of weeks to BBC.
Have you used the hashtag before, Gibbo?
Have I used the hashtag before? May have trended a couple of times myself, actually.
You've trended.
I think so, like in South Yorkshire, yeah.
Do you run the Loughborough?
Yeah, I know the Loughborough hashtags, yeah. LWOW, been one that I don't use. Loughborough Walk on Water, I've seen that one kicking about.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Does that give a blue pitch?
Yeah. That was part of the design consultation, I believe, as well. When blue or green, well, obviously water because you walk on it. So, yeah, I believe that's what we went for. Kidding.
Get it.
Here we go. Next week must be tinsel and Christmas jumpers and hats. So,
it actually is Christmas jumper day, and I was like this close to suggesting it. But Ian will be in Christmas jumpers next week.
I'll wear a Santa hat.
yes, love that.
You heard it here first. Gibbo will be in a Santa hat.
Tess, anything from you before we finish up?
No, just incredible work, Mike. Sport 101 week. You thank everybody else, but you don't thank yourself probably. So big up you. An incredible website. I'm very jealous of that. I was just scrolling down and everything just seems to appear, which is lovely. I know you probably worked hard to make sure that was the case.
I'm glad I got noticed. Really glad that got noticed. Guys, thank you all very much. Thank you everybody who's watching, and we will see you next week for Christmas jumpers and tinsel and Christmas hats. So thank you all very much, and we'll see you all next week.
Bye, team.